right, this is for Algebra 2, right triangle trig. And before you get started on this worksheet, make sure you are familiar with your three trigs, ratios that we've worked with. Okay? Remember, this theta represents some angle right here. And this is talking about the opposite side over the hypotenuse side, etc. All right, so let's look at this worksheet real quick that we did a few together in class. And this says, find the measure of each angle indicated. So this little theta, again, represents an unknown angle. So look at the sides that they gave you to work with. By the way, you could find this side if you needed to by using the Pythagorean theorem that we just worked on as well, like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you could do that. We don't really need to because it didn't ask us this side, so why do more than we have to? But look at here. You know the hypotenuse, okay? Because the hypotenuse is always the side opposite the right angle. So this must be the adjacent because it means next to. So when I look at my three trig functions, I'm going to have to use this one because it's adjacent over hypotenuse. So what you're going to do is you're going to write the cosine of theta, and you have to show this ratio is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, okay? So the way you hit this in your calculator, when you're looking for the angle, okay, you're going to have a scientific calculator, but look right here, this is my calculator. If you're looking for the angle, you're going to have to use these inverse functions, okay? The three main functions right here are when you already have the angle to work with, and we don't. So I'm going to have to use that little button in purple. So I have to hit this one, and then, did my calculator go off? I think it did. Okay, it did. Okay, I'm going to have to hit this one, my second button, and then my cosine button. So you can see it says the inverse cosine, and our ratio is what, 12 over 13? So 12 divided by 13, and I'll go ahead and close that. It equals 22.6. We're just going to round these off to the nearest tenth. Okay, so theta is 22.6 degrees. Now, I don't know your calculator. Some of you may have to hit this in first and then that inverse button. Okay, I like my calculator because you can hit it in. What you see, you just kind of hit it in. All right, let's try another one. How about this one right here? Now look at this angle. We have the opposite and we have the adjacent. Okay, this is the hypotenuse because it's opposite. So that means that has to be adjacent. So if we have, excuse me, really, this angle, I got crazy. We have the opposite and we have the adjacent. That's going to be tangent. The opposite is 4 and the adjacent is 13. Okay, so again in your calculator, because I'm looking for the angle, I don't know the angle, you have to use the inverse button. So I'm going to hit second, and I better hit tangent, and my ratio was 4 over 13. So I hit 4 divided by 13, and I've got 17.1. So my angle is 17.1 degrees. Okay. So by the way, if you know this angle, you could figure out this angle if you need to. Remember, these two have to add up to 90, okay? So that would be pretty simple. All right, let's go down here and let's look at number 10. Notice number 10 says, find the measure of each side. Okay, they give us the angle and we need to know the side. So let's think about this. They give us 32 to work with. We know the opposite and we know the adjacent, okay? Because again, that's the hypotenuse because it's opposite. So what trig function uses opposite and adjacent? Again, they like tangent. We have the angle, so you're going to write it in. It's opposite over adjacent. You want to solve for x, so all of these you're going to get rid of your fraction. So you're going to swing this up. The opposite dividing by 13 is multiplying by 13. Then you're just going to hit this in your calculator. 13 times the tangent of 32. Now, notice I have the angle. So because I have the angle, I'm going to use this tangent button right there, okay? Let me go ahead and hit clear. So it said, let's put this right here, 13 times the tangent, okay, and I didn't hit the inverse, and it was, what, 32 degrees, and it equals, there it is, 8.1. So the length of this side is about 8.1 units. Okay, let's try another one. This one, we're given this angle is 60, and look what we know. We know adjacent, and we know the hypotenuse. So that's going to have to be the cosine of 60 equals adjacent, which is next to, over the hypotenuse. Again, whatever this is, just swing it up. That'd be 11 times the cosine of 60. So I'm just going to hit that exactly in my calculator. I'm going to hit 11 times the cosine of 60. And there we go, 5.5. What a nice little answer that one is. Okay. All right, let's turn it over. All right, I started to do, let me see if I can just go ahead and do this one again. Cover my answer right here. So you can't see it. There we go. Okay, I started this one earlier, but here it says solve each triangle. And so what it's wanting you to do is find all missing sides and the missing angle. The missing angle is going to be easy because you know these two have to add up to 90, okay? And what I did, if this is a capital A, this angle, the side opposite, I called it a little a. And this is a capital C, this angle, so I called the side opposite a little c. Okay, pick whichever angle you want, and I'm going to show you how this will work for both. Okay, but if I use the angle they gave me, and let's find little a first. Notice I have opposite and I have adjacent. Okay, so if I do that, it's going to have to be the tangent of 62 equals opposite over adjacent. Now these are just a little trickier to solve when your variable's on the bottom. No big deal. Again, swing him up here. Equals 22.6, and you want to get the a, the variable by itself, so divide. That's a times the tangent of 62, so just divide both sides by the tangent of 62. And let's hit this in your calculator, just like you see it. This is one you really can't get away with not having a calculator. So what does it say? 22.6 divided by, and notice I have the angle, so I'm just going to hit the normal tangent button of 62 equals 12.0. So A is about 12.0. Okay? Now, this is what's really cool. If you would have wanted to, okay, you could have used this angle. You could have used 28. If you would have used 28, notice you have opposite over adjacent. So you could have said this. Where do I want to do this? The tangent of 28 is opposite, which now that's A over 22.6. Okay, so you could have done it like that. Swing this up here. 22.6 times the tangent of 28. Hit that in your calculator. So let's see, you have to clear that. 22.6 times the tangent. This time I have to use 28 degrees. And look at this. Same answer, 12.0. I love that. So you can't go wrong if you have two angles. Okay, you can never use the 90-degree one, but you can use either angle you want and you'll get the right answer. Okay, so I know this is, what do we say, 12.0. They don't all come out quite that pretty. Now to find this one, you can either use the Pythagorean theorem, which is fine. You guys remember the Pythagorean theorem. So you're going to take 12 squared, and plus 22.6 squared, that equals c squared. So I'm going to hit this in my calculator, these two real quick. So I'm going to do this. 12 squared plus 22.6 squared equals that. So 654.76 equals c squared. So c, I'm going to hit my square root button. Okay, so there's my square root of, what was it, 654.76. And I get the answer of 25.6 about. Okay, because we are definitely rounding. I still want to put a weight there. Okay, so that's one way. I honestly don't use the Pythagorean theorem, believe it or not. I still like trig. Okay, so I want you to see something. We got 25.6. So I'm going to write that down right here. But I would have used trig. Okay, I already have the side. If I use this 62 degrees, notice I notice the adjacent and I know opposite now. Okay, so I would have done, let's see, opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. What is that? Tangent, right? So I would have done this. Tangent of 62 equals opposite. Wait a minute, I'm being silly here. Just a minute. This is the side I'm wanting to look for. Sorry. I have opposite over hypotenuse. And I don't want him on the bottom. I'm pretending I don't know him, so I'm actually going to come over here. Okay, and I would do adjacent. See what? Oh, either way, he's going to be on the bottom. I did that earlier. Okay, well, what a poo. Okay, so we want opposite over hypotenuse. That's sine of 62 is opposite over the hypotenuse, which I'm pretending I don't know that. Okay, this is so much easier. Opposite over the hypotenuse. I'm going to swing the C up there. So you're really going to end up hitting this in. So 22.6 divided by, what did we have? The sine of 62. And notice what we get. 25.6. Same thing. So you can solve that missing third side however you choose. Pythagorean theorem or another trig function. Just show your work.